Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here as always. Today we've got another show about one of my favorite projects in the NFT space, and that is charged particles. You might remember a video that I did a while back with Mango from the project, but today we've got Ben Lakoff, the sort of business development lead and co-founder from Charged Particles. So Ben, welcome to the show.
Hey, excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Glad to follow back up on this. If you wouldn't mind giving an intro to yourself and maybe your role with the project and how you got into crypto.
Sure. Um, sure. So Ben Lakoff, from Indiana, but I spent like the better part of the last decade outside of the US, so 10 years abroad and
Mm.
repatriated for COVID. So I'm very much going through a bit of reverse culture shock as the world starts to open again, up again, and really see what the US is like. But yeah, I got into my background's in finance, and then got into crypto in 2016. I have been an entrepreneur, kind of starting and tinkering with companies for a number of years. Sold one, failed one, learned a lot along the way. Was an advisor in something called Kernel, which is like a Web3 virtual accelerator. Virtual accelerator meets Burning Man is kind of the best way I've heard it described, for lack of a better descriptor. Met Rob Secord, who's the founder of Charge Particles there, and yeah, I got instantly hooked. So joined full time October of 2020 and have been the business lead and co-founder of Charge Particles ever since. So yeah, we've since, well, do an intro for Charge Particles, I suppose,
Please do.
if that's all right.
Make
Yeah,
my job
so
easy.
yeah, there we go. So Charge Particles is an NFT protocol that allows you to take an NFT and add other assets to that NFT. So we give each NFT its own smart wallet that it enables it to hold other assets, ERC20s, yield-bearing tokens, DeFi assets, other NFTs, ERC 1155 or 721, all containerized within that NFT. So we launched on mainnet in February 2021. We are also on Polygon. We've got a lot of cool things going.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of my favorite projects conceptually, even and the applicability. As soon as people hear, an NFT as a container for other assets, if you're anything like me, your imagination starts to run wild with all the things you could do with that as a primitive. So yeah, really cool stuff. Where, for my own edification, where do you see the most adoption? Is it more of the adoption of charged particles and this functionality on Polygon because of gas fees, or is Ethereum the spot?
Yeah, good question. I mean, gas is definitely an issue, I guess.
Yeah.
It depends how you look at it, right? It's got a lot of use, so
Hmm.
maybe it shows that the network is being used, and that's not an issue.
Hmm.
Um, so by deploying on Polygon, we kind of took the gas issue out of the equation. So you can do we're a serverless company, everything's on chain. So whenever you're doing these little transactions, they're all gas. They all write a transaction to the blockchain. So there's a gas component of it. So when you
Hmm.
abstract that away, you're able to be pretty creative with what you do. So take an NFT, put another one inside of it, take that NFT, put it into another one, take that NFT, put it into another one, build this like Russian doll all the way down, time lock it, add more assets to it, wrap it in something else. There's all these crazy things, and if you added that up on layer one, it'd be quite intensive. So at Charge Particles, we aspire to be the protocol that allows you to put things inside of your NFTs and kind of next level NFTs. So in
Hmm.
terms of adoption, I mean, our DApp that we have live is pretty interesting in that it's more of a proof of concept for what's actually possible with this technology.
Hmm.
So we've had a couple, I think probably $3 or $4 million worth of NFT sales to date. So certainly
Hmm.
not crazy in terms of like some of these NFT projects these days.
Yeah.
But most of the use has been people creating social tokens, putting a little bit of interest-bearing assets in their art NFTs. So more of like a skewed more towards art. These are quite creative people. Any media file, when I say art, so not just like a JPEG. But that would be the most thus far. Actually, we've just another really interesting use case is this idea of vested tokens. So for an investor or a team member, traditionally you let's say, hey, you're an investor in this project, or yeah, you're an investor in this project. Here is a wallet address, or give me your wallet address. I'll set up a contract, and you'll spit you some tokens every month for the next 2 years. Well, the reverse is that I create an NFT. I take your entire 2 years of tokens. I put that in those vested tokens into an NFT, and then I transfer that to you on day one. Then you can use this as collateral, take a loan against it. You can transfer it to another wallet. You can sell it because you no longer believe in the project, and you're ready to get rid of them. But then when thinking about like, okay, so if each one of those months is an NFT nested within a meta NFT, you could actually sell months 6 through 12 because you have a tax liability coming through, but you're still super bullish on the project. So you just want to like get rid of that one little piece. So it adds like this whole layer of like predictions on where the market's going, or where that particular project is going, and gives you that true sovereign ability to own those tokens from day one. And sorry, I just rambled forever, but obviously I get excited on a lot of these things.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, the show is about the project, not me. So no worries. I mean, what you get here, like if I had to surmise it, it would be you get more granularity to tokenization use cases, because like you said, you can take what might traditionally encapsulate a the vestment of tokens, so a bucket of tokens, or what might represent an album of music that had to be traditionally one NFT that represents everything, and you can now split them up into individual assets, but can still transfer it as a unit or as a whole if you want to, or you can part it out. And I think this is really powerful for gaming in particular, like really powerful for gaming. Having an NPC character, that has items, you knock that character down, you take the items, you can encapsulate it in your own. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
100%. Yeah. I mean, you think of it as like your little backpack full of other NFTs, assuming your character is an NFT and your backpack is an NFT and all the things inside of it are NFTs, right? Which it is a likely scenario at some point in the future. Then the ability to like take that person's backpack with all of their NFTs, or just pieces of them, or that person use that backpack as collateral, take out a loan, like basically injecting finance into all of these other disparate pieces is pretty darn cool.
Have you seen any interest, or have you started any, and this may qualify as alpha that you can't talk about, which is fine, any interest in charged particles as a protocol in the gaming space that you can report?
Yeah, in terms of gaming, so this is the cool thing about charged particles, right? It's an NFT protocol, so all types of NFTs. This includes games, this includes music, this includes art, finance, all of them. So we've actually split into different guilds within charged particles. So we do have a gaming guild, we do have a music guild, we've got a plethora of guilds. So within the gaming guild itself, there's a number of different projects that are building on top of charged particles with these ideas, but they're all at varying stages, but really cool, fascinating stuff. And I mean, you think of NFT battles that you're injecting tokens into one of those NFTs and battling, and the winner takes these tokens. Like aspects like that, kind of next level or next level. Gets some really cool stuff. So there's one called Exo Jump that's pretty darn cool. Actually haven't checked in for a while on that one in terms of like some of these gaming guilds. This is the other fun thing, being a global company, being in Pacific time. A lot of these calls are at 5 a.m. my time, so
Yeah.
I do miss them from time to time because I value my sleep. But yeah, there's some fascinating stuff. So if people are interested, would highly recommend jumping into the Discord. There's always pretty cool conversations and people building some really fascinating stuff.
I can imagine. I can imagine, and I can also attest seeing some of the stuff that's going on in the Discord. Um, so there were some recent announcements in the charged particles space, or at least some chatter that I've seen on social media around, not only what's coming imminently, but maybe what the longer term goals are around the protocol. Can you share some of those things and like what people can expect from charged particles as the year goes on?
Yeah, sure. Um, so biggest next one is Protocol V2. So originally, we had crafted up this vision of all NFTs holding any other asset. It's very broad, very gigantic. The way that the protocol was designed, not every NFT could actually be energized or have assets injected into it. So this V2 actually allows for most, if not all, NFTs to actually be energized. Right now, it's just the NFTs created on our platform. So that was like the proof of concept. You don't have your own NFT, fine, mint one here, and you can charge it up. And one's minted on Rarible. But as we were going through, a lot of them didn't adhere to the standard that we had written to. So this protocol V2 allows us that, you take your Bored Ape and you can energize it. You can put something else. You can put a Meebit inside of it or whatever, and then fractionalize it. Go crazy. So that would be the biggest one. That's been the focus of most of our dev efforts the last couple months, as well as just cleaning up the DApp. So the DApp is a proof of concept. We want people to use it. We want people to come there and energize their NFTs or create NFTs and innovate. And there were just some small bugs and optimizations that needed to happen to really make that experience a lot better. So those would be the next big like next step ones. And then like this idea of vested tokens is something I get really, really excited about actually later today. So by the time this comes out, and we've kind of been teasing about it this week, a project that's launching tomorrow, Paragon's DAO. So this is a DAO backed by Paradigm and Framework and a bunch of other contributors. They raised $25 million, launches a token, and the team founder tokens will be time locked within NFTs. So there's 17 of these founding DAO members. Each of them get 4 NFTs. So one tranche of tokens that unlocks in 6 months, one that unlocks in 12 months, one in 18, and one in 24. And they're all containerized within this beautifully designed. It's one of the main fan artists of Parallel NFTs. He's created a beautiful little image that will house those tokens. So the whole idea of vested tokens going out is going live, and we're getting some pretty cool use cases. So just really getting excited on what that looks like as more of these NFTs as collateral protocols come online. So now I have this asset, this NFT. Within that NFT, I have a bunch of tokens that have a value. Well, if I can use that as collateral, pull that value forward today, how amazing is that? Maybe I never have to sell that. If I want to transfer that, if I want to sell one of them, whatever. And then, going further, you think about voting. So previously, those vested tokens, they weren't in my wallet. They were attributed to my wallet. I would get them at some day, but that wasn't captured by like Snapshot for voting. So now, from day one, I have all of this voting power. So it kind of totally changes the dynamic for on-chain voting from day one. So what does this mean? Previously these projects, ourselves included, down this path of progressive decentralization, you don't want a lot of votes early on that like you need your own voting power, which means you need your own tokens. So either you go out
Right.
and buy them, or you like wait until you vest some of them, so you at least have some say in your protocol's decisions. So it will be an interesting thing to see as these people have voting weight, have ability day one to have a say in their own protocols voting, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of interesting things going on in the world of DAOs and tools that are needed to make DAOs viable, not only just for the community in terms of how they interact with them, but for the sort of the leadership of that DAO. And I think vesting of tokens is a big one, and that's not even just for DAOs. A lot of projects struggle with the vesting of tokens, whether it be because it's non-transparent or be it that the lack of access to those tokens hamstrings their ability to participate in governance and all this sort of thing. So really interesting stuff. Quick question, sort of philosophically, what do you think the regulatory impact to that would be when you start to
Yeah,
do that?
that's a very good question. So this is where it gets super blurry. That
Hmm.
and blanket disclosure that I'm not a lawyer, not your lawyer. All of
Neither am
these
I.
things are kind of blurry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so this is just two guys talking on the internet, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very blurred line because of these laws that were created in the 1930s and 40s. This thing is totally a security now. So this
Hmm.
NFT has value locked inside of it. It is 100% a security.
Hmm.
So then places like OpenSea or Rarible, all of these marketplaces where you can trade NFTs, they don't want to touch this thing with a
Hmm.
10-foot pole, right? Because then they're facilitating the trade of a security without the proper license. You need to do KYC and AML, and these are,
Hmm.
Patriot Act things that make people go to jail for a long time, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
So, yes, there is certainly a security aspect to that NFT at that point.
Hmm.
But with what we're doing at Charged Particles, if you start putting vesting tokens in Bored Apes, in Amoeba, in Wonder World Woman, like a Fluff or whatever, like so, all you start like turning all of these NFTs that are part of a bigger collection that are all not specific to being a security NFT into security. So yeah, it gets a little hairy, right? But this
Yeah.
is this is what happens at the bleeding edge. There's not a lot. And ultimately, I mean, in our terms, we say, like, if you're American, you should be using the protocol, you should be doing security token stuff, but it is an
Hmm.
open protocol for anyone to do whatever they would like to do.
Hmm.
Um, so that it's it,
It's
it's
complicated,
definitely
I think, is the
it
bottom
is.
line.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think I think about it, of course, from those forward-leaning use cases, but also from a utilitarian perspective, even as a potential, you know, gas saving mechanism, right? For say an auction house that's selling a bucket of 7 NFTs. I would much rather transfer to the owner, the new owner who wins the auction, one container with all those NFTs in it than individually send each one. Not only because you're multiplying the number of opportunities for a human mistake, but also because you're only transferring what is effectively one asset in a sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are some really utilitarian use cases for that that are not
Yeah.
like totally regulatory black holes.
So my light just went out.
No
Um,
worries.
I'll turn on that one. Um, yeah, so the idea of like an NFT as a gift basket is
Yeah.
something that we think is super, super cool. So as part of um, NFT NYC, we actually kind of got together with some of our friends from the space, and people donated tokens, ERC20s, and NFTs, and we put that all into a basket, and it was like $25,000 worth of goodies in there
Hmm.
for the POAP scavenger hunt giveaway. And yeah, I mean, this thing had like a fluff in it and lots of cool things that it's pretty darn cool. So gas savings, I'm not sure because it's quite gas intensive to
To
put
make them
it
in.
on,
Yeah.
but you certainly pass that gas spend off to whoever receives it. So it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving. But you can also do
Hmm.
this on Polygon. We did a bunch of Christmas stockings
Hmm.
over the holidays. So NFT gift basket sent to somebody with a bunch of goodies inside from partners. Pretty cool use case. So for anybody listening who's interested in doing anything like that, that's a more fun use case, but also thinking like the more actual potential of this basketing sort of thing
Hmm.
is like DAO treasury management. So
Hmm.
you think of like within Charge Particles, we have all of these different guilds. Well, I can have a NFT that says Music Guild, but visually it shows a music guild. I put money, I put part of the DAO treasury into that
Hmm.
NFT, generate interest, and then that interest that's generated from that individual NFT is attributed to that guild. So it gives you this like visual way of managing
Hmm.
your assets, knowing which assets are earmarked for which organization, which I think
Hmm.
is pretty cool.
Yeah, DAO entitlement, huge thing that I think many of the DAOs that I participate in are trying to figure out now as we speak. So I would completely agree with that. So here's my last question for you. For someone who is, I guess an investor or a collector, somebody who would interact with charged particles on that side of things, and a developer who might be trying to build things, like where can they come and interact with the space and figure things out and get the info that they need?
Yeah, I would point people towards Discord. I mean, Discord's
Hmm.
not the most user friendly for somebody that's not in there. So
Hmm.
developers, if you're looking to build on another protocol or interested, hackathons and all of these things, you probably got to get familiar with Discord. I know it's kind
Hmm.
of a disaster, but that's probably the best place. We also do have a Telegram group, so that's pretty good. And then we have a pretty exhaustive like docs list
Hmm.
that gives you a lot of the information that you could use here. But no, we're always looking for passionate people who are looking to kind of build the next iteration of NFTs. And we're always hiring. Everybody's hiring. Web
Hmm.
two devs that aren't into crypto yet, to look at Web three. There's everybody's hiring. So whatever you're
Hmm.
interested in building, whatever team you're interested in joining, the vision or work culture, you can probably find it, and they're probably hiring. So yeah, also non-devs. I would be remiss without saying like
Hmm.
we are at a human capital shortage within crypto. So
Yep.
always looking for people who are smart, passionate, and willing to contribute in meaningful ways to projects.
It's awesome for positive impact. That's the way.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the way. But thank you so much, Ben, for coming and talking about charged particles. Some of the things that we can look forward to in, well, at least for one of these things, like in the next day after we record this, and then also just down the line. So thanks for being here.
yeah. Of course, really appreciate this and you and your audience. And anybody can reach out to me personally at Ben Lakoff, BenLakoff on Twitter, and Charge Particles is DeFi NFT, so DeFi NFT. That's probably our easiest low hanging fruit for access. That's for sure.
Nice. And to make it as easy as possible, I'll link those up in the description below. Thank you so much for everyone who watched the show today, who's watched any other show on my channel. Thank you very much. And until next time, cheers.